remember, the county judge, Lloyd Neal, does not control the majority on the commissioner's court. It's controlled by Oscar Ortiz. This is the congressman brother. So here you have Peggy Bañales in her wheeling and dealings with this particular individual. So I want you all to first get a photo, a mental photograph as to how the power network is set up. Because if you do, then you understand where all the issues and players and everybody else tied in, and in future discussions, sometimes we have to look, and people ask me, well, what gives rise to political cronyism, to political dishonesty? Well, one is some individuals are in power too long. Salomon has been there over 20 years, and if you look at his previous career as a constable, and that's not including his career as sheriff, not including his career as county commissioner. If you add all those together, well, that'll be mind-boggling. But when somebody sits there as a congressman for 20 years, that is a long, long time. Certain connections become, certain people start off in office. As we saw Peggy when she started initially, she said, I'm going to do for Killallen, I'm going to do for Annaville. He told Hillcrest, I'm going to do for that dilapidated area in Hillcrest. But then all of a sudden, her goals, her entire idealism, poof, was puffed away by a wind, like a dust into the distance. What happened? Why did her goals become displaced? Because she saw reality. She had to choose either A or B. Either I work with what's there, or do I fight it? Do I try to humanize it? Do I try to inject a humanism? Do I try to connect my heart to my eyes and start to do something about it? And it seems overwhelming. It's easy. I mean, it seems it takes a special person to sit in that office. It takes a special person that is independent-minded, that will not be lured in the way that Peggy Bañales has. I think Peggy Bañales has been one of the worst commissioners we have, not because of her aggressiveness, but because of her weakness, because of her lack of backbone, because of the decisions that she has made. She has turned to others to guide her life. She has turned to others to make the major decisions and go after the things that need to be accomplished as a team. What we need is somebody independent in that office, somebody that will not be lured by that inner circle. And I disagree with Power Group A or Power Group B. We need independent people. I feel that Joe Benavides going in there, and it might sound like an endorsement because it is. I think Joe Benavides is independent. He's a Democrat, yes. Benny Benavides, his father, has been involved for many years in the Democratic Party. He's been loyal to the Democratic Party. Yet, you see some of these commissioners milling around with Republicans, engaging in deals with Republicans. Take Lance Rendon recently. He was lured by a top Republican in the area, and they gave him a job in Ingleside. They gave him a job in Ingleside to represent many of the interests, the base closure and everything there. But yet, when they get on radio, they tell especially the Hispanic community, get out and vote Democrat. Get out and vote, you're disloyal if you don't vote Democrat. But in their daily lives, it doesn't apply to them. Those rules don't apply to them. So this is an awakening call. People have to realize that we're much more than Power Group A or B. And in the philosophy of, as I look Peggy Bañales, I start to see that recently she made a statement that, and some people are calling her in a negative way, paycheck Peggy. And the reason for that, they gave her that stigma, is because she said she wanted a raise. They're earning, what, 70-some thousand dollars? She said, I'll do a better job if you pay me more. Come on, they're public servants. So you mean you're not going to do anything if the existing salary is there? So their concept of power, their concept of the office is more like a throne. It's A over B or B over A. They have no concept in this particular base of operation of where let's work collectively as a team. Let's try and get that balance of power, A, B, and C balanced together at some point where all of us can benefit. This elitism, Joe Benavides is a people person. You know, I look around and, you know, I wish I knew Joe better, but he's out there volunteering with the people. He was in the military most of his life. He's close to the people and the masses and everyone else, while Peggy is, you know, she stratifies herself. She's more distant from the little guy. And she likes that because there's certain benefits. People don't bug you that often. You're able to do more but there's certain conditions that give rise, I think, to political dishonesty. And I'm talking about all the power groups, not just Peggy Bañales in this case. But I think, one, I talked about how Salomón Ortiz and other politicos have been in office a long time. The second point I want to make is transparency. You know, people should have a town hall meeting. Groups out there in the community should go after the politicos, look at what they did, look at their budgets, look at their track record, and then get a glimpse as to what they've done for the community. You know, that lack of transparency. Recently, El Defensor, you know, we were threatened, you know, that we weren't going to get any advertisements. Of course, it came from the Lencho Rendon faction, and we don't care, you know. You know, many people tend to think that selling a newspaper what keeps a newspaper alive. No, it's the advertisement dollars. It's the lifeblood. But we're not going to compromise a cause that we've been fighting for years and years just because somebody's going to pull some ad. It just doesn't work that way. It's our everyday existence. This is what keeps us alive, our second wind, to keep on plunging forward. You know, we need good role models. We're trying to inspire the new generations, the professionals, the entrepreneurs to build our community. You know, and I know a lot of you, and it's no longer about Hispanic versus them. You know, I did hear from the Peggy Bañales camp that said, well, Lomero, you know, Hispanics are going to benefit from the fairgrounds in Robstown. Great. I'm all for that. My thing is that Peggy Bañales should not be ignoring her district. Peggy Bañales should not be ignoring the West Side. Peggy Bañales should not be ignoring Annaville and a lot of the conditions, the drainage problems that are there. I think the taxpayers and the voters, her constituents, I think she has a responsibility to that. I think she has very low ethics if she's not carrying out the oath of her office. You know, also there's patronage. I've talked about patronage, and let me define it for you. Patronage basically is that we see in the county, and it's existed for years, but we don't want it perpetuated. Patronage is when you put friends in office, not because they're qualified, it's because you owe them a favor. Why did Peggy Bañales get in turn? Many ask me, well, we see glimpses of it. Her husband, who was appointed presiding judge, many have not questioned that. You know, one hand watches the other, as those type of politicians say. You do a favor for me, I do one for you. A lot of stuff can be proven. You know, bribery can be proven. A lot of stuff can, but you only see glimpses of it. You know, all we can do is allege, suppose, we can use all these words. But one thing for sure, she got her husband a $140,000 office as a result of, I think, as a result of engaging in a lot of these activities. Lencho Rendon is a very vindictive man that's trying to muster power, and he's trying to put all family members in there. And they're just the inner circle. And that's why this group, as far as the EDC in corpus, many criticize it. But let me tell you something about the EDC. It's much more diversified. The EDC includes many different people. That's why it has broader support.